Welcome back to Distorted Opinions. I'm Kayla, and this week I am joined by Keisha. Keisha, thank you for joining me. Matt and Ted couldn't make it. Again, as I mentioned last episode, we are not as far ahead as we've been in previous weeks, so it's been a little bit of a last-minute scramble for us to get some episodes done here. So
holiday times.
Yeah, yes, for sure. I mean, we're at this point, we're in December now. This episode, so
I can't even.
I know, hard to believe already. It seems like just yesterday we were doing our holiday special for last year and our recap for last year for 2020. So before you know it, that'll be coming up. But I thought before we get into to some of the meat of the show, if you will, a couple of quick, just I guess update and recaps, because I forgot the last episode that we did to give an update on where things were with my Parker, because we had talked about that in the episode before. So that episode, I had mentioned there was an issue with some fret buzz. I had taken it in to get it set up because I thought that's what the issue was, and I took it to Steve Morrill, who's my tech out in Boxborough, Mass. And Steve, when I picked it up, told me that the fretboard had been coming unglued on it, and so he had to glue the fretboard back on, which was kind of unusual. And I won't go through all the details. If you want to hear all the nitty gritty about what happened with that, go back a few episodes and you'll hear that whole story. But kind of where we were at the end of that episode was that I needed to bring it back to Steve because I took it out of the case a few days after I brought it home for the first time, and it still had really bad fret buzz, and I was really nervous that there was going to be, like, either he was going to tell me whatever it was couldn't be fixed, or this was just going to be an ongoing issue. So took it into Steve the next day, and it turns out what he thinks happened is he's not sure he got the fretboard exactly in the right place where it was originally. So what would have happened potentially is the frets would have been a little bit out of place of where they were. So basically he had to file down the frets a little bit to even them out, and then he adjusted the action a little bit, so the action's slightly higher than where it was, but not ridiculous, and the fret buzz is gone. So hopefully,
awesome.
Luckily it was not that it was coming unglued again, because that's what I was worried about. That's what he thought was going to happen. In fact, he told me when I brought it in, he was like, I was having nightmares thinking that I was going to have to figure out how to take the fretboard back off and re-glue it back on again. And I was like, oh goodness, I'm glad it didn't come down to that. It was like 10 minutes. I stood there while he filed everything down and reset it all back up, and we were good. So hopefully that means that's the last I see of that particular issue. Hopefully the fretboard stays glued down and I don't have any other problems with it, and any other issues I have just require a simple setup like I was expecting that this was going to be. So that was really good news. I was glad to hear that and not have it be something worse, because we had talked about all the possibilities of what could have happened.
You were like worried that this was just going to be like a showpiece on your wall, and we were like, we don't want that for you.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's not yet a showpiece on the wall. So, and then
shout out to Steve. Yes. Thank you, Steve.
Yay,
thank you so
Steve.
much.
Yay. Shout out. If you're looking for a good tech, definitely check out Steve. He'll get you taken care of. Ted's taken his guitar to him as well. And then speaking of Steve, so every time I go in with a guitar, I feel like I have some sort of interesting conversation with Steve. And the last time I was in there, somehow, I know what it was. So I brought him the Parker, but I forgot to put, because it requires a 9-volt battery because it has active pickups. I forgot to put a 9-volt battery in it. So I was like, oh shoot, I hope you have 9-volt batteries, because I forgot them. And I was telling him that I had gotten rechargeable 9-volt batteries to try after seeing a few people talk about them. I didn't even realize rechargeable 9 volts were a thing until probably like 8 or 9 months ago. So I went on to Amazon and took a look there, and I saw some people in the comments that were like, oh, I got these for my guitar pedals. They work great. I'm like, all right, great. I'm more than happy to use rechargeables and not have to keep buying disposable batteries to put in my guitars. Not that I go through them that quickly, but it's just I'd rather not have to throw out batteries if I don't need to. So,
thinking environmentally, got it.
Right, exactly. So I was talking to Steve about this, and he was like, oh, probably wouldn't use rechargeable 9 volts in your guitars. And I was like, well, why not? And he goes, well, they say they're 9 volts, but not all 9-volt batteries are created equal. They don't actually often put out enough voltage to actually power the pickups properly. And I was like, really? So he was, that then led to a discussion about how, and this was news to me, apparently there are a number of guitarists out there that prefer to use half-dead 9-volt batteries in their guitar pedals, particularly like their overdrive and distortion type pedals. Yes, because I guess when they're half-dead, they put out a different voltage than a full 9-volt battery. And I guess actually Eric Johnson, who I'm a huge fan of, I've talked about Eric on a few shows here. He's an amazing guitar player. Apparently Eric is one such guitarist that prefers his batteries half dead. And I guess people, talk about how he's got these crazy views on 9-volt batteries and needing to have half dead 9-volt batteries or cheap dollar store 9-volt batteries, but his thoughts are not actually all that outlandish because apparently this is something that other people are doing. And I was like, okay, so I mean, I don't think the half-dead 9-volt battery thing is necessarily recommended for the guitar. His point was more or less use just a regular disposable battery in the guitar because it actually puts out a different voltage than the rechargeables, and the rechargeables, and I would agree with this, don't actually last as long. And
this is true. Yes.
Which is unfortunate. And the thing is, like, I don't leave my guitars plugged in when I'm not using them. And most guitars, the way that works is if you leave it plugged in, it's drawing power from the battery. If you unplug it, it's not. And so I don't leave my guitars plugged in. They're usually in the case, with the exception of, if you're watching the video version, the ones that are on the wall behind me are not in cases, obviously, but they're not plugged in, and none of these have active pickup. So even if they were plugged in, I don't have to worry about drawing power out of my batteries. So I don't leave them plugged in, but I was still feeling like I was having to change the batteries quite often, which on the Parker, not a huge deal. The battery compartment's just like a door that opens on the back, so it's pretty easy to get to. But on other guitars, it's not that easy. You have to actually unscrew screws to get to the battery compartment of the guitar. So changing batteries frequently is not really ideal either. But his point was more that with pedals, the half-dead batteries are apparently a thing. And so I went online to see if I could find anything about this, and sure enough I did. And I found an article here from a website called Mixdown Mag, and I think this is a magazine, I would assume, based out of Australia. So they say that using this battery technique works best on transistor-based analog circuits, and in particular fuzz and distortion pedals. Digital pedals don't respond as well to using half-dead batteries because they have modern circuits that aren't designed, or they're designed to not be affected by different voltage levels. So it depends on what type of pedal you're going to do this in. But it says batteries that are drained produce less voltage and thus power the pedal at a voltage that is under the normal level required, which gives the pedal a different sound. In fuzz pedals, one theory is that the lower power sucks some of the gain out and adds a little more compression, giving the pedal a lo-fi sound. And that it's worth noting that as well as using half-dead batteries that sag the power, there are some power supplies out there which give this option, and there are even a few pedals on the market which do the same. So, really interesting, like, every time I bring a guitar to Steve, I feel like I learn something new. And in all my years of playing guitar, this was not something I'd ever heard. In fact, I always made it a point to make sure there were fresh batteries if I couldn't plug in, that there were fresh batteries in my pedals, because I just assumed you don't want your battery to die in the middle of a gig. So I'm just wondering, are people like Eric Johnson walking around to get, well, obviously he's got a roadie who's going to do it, but has he got a roadie that's walking around with a giant bag of half-dead batteries?
Half-dead batteries, yeah. Wait, give me the other one. It's half dead. Like,
so
it does make you wonder about like performers. Like, is that happening right now? Like,
I don't know. I'm like, it was absolute news to me, and I have not, with the exception of this afternoon before we did this show, taking a quick look to see what I could find about it. I really haven't done a whole lot of research into it, and I haven't really used a pedal that I would use battery power for in some time. So I can't really speak on a personal level to this, but if you're a guitar player and you're watching or listening to this episode and you have used half-dead batteries, or you prefer half-dead batteries, I'd love to hear from you and see what led you down that path, because that's not something that ever would have crossed my mind. I would have always just wanted to have fresh batteries or a power supply anytime I was going to use a pedal that needed to be powered off of a battery or a power supply.
I need like this to be a like science project for someone. Like, I need like a video side by side of this going down. Like, here's my half dead battery. Here's my like fully charged rechargeable battery. Like, I want to hear this. Like,
honestly, there probably is.
That'd be so cool to see.
If like just a quick going back to the Google search I initially did, they have the people also ask section on Google.
Oh yeah.
Do guitar pedals sound better with batteries? I assume they mean as opposed to a power supply, because they wouldn't make any sound at all without power. Yeah, so basically it talks about whether or not batteries sound better to a person's ear versus a power supplied powered pedal. There's a whole lot of stuff on this. I'm sure the gearpage.net. Why does my pedal sound best when my battery is almost dead?
Wow.
So yeah, if you want to learn more about this this dying battery thing, there are so many posts and articles and videos, and there's somebody that has a video on YouTube, DIY guitar pedals dying battery modification, which I might go watch later. It's a 20-minute video. Guy's got all kinds of crazy stuff hooked up to his pedals here. So yeah, just something to think about. I might not throw away those batteries that I feel are getting a little bit low now, and I might throw them into a pedal and see if I notice a difference, and if I like the sound of the pedal with a half-dead battery versus a full battery. And if I do that, I'll report back on my findings. But if you're already doing that, let us know, because we would love to know what you think of that, and what led you to start doing that. So yeah, this has been a topic that we've had in the notes for a while now, and Keisha and I have discussed it a number of times off of the show. And then by the time we get into the show, we get into other things. So I'm like, all right, maybe this episode we need to just spend a few minutes on this and address this, because this was rather interesting.
It is. I mean, it also makes me wonder, like, where else can I use this logic? Like,
not your smoke detectors. Don't do it in the smoke detectors. Yeah, that's one place not to do that.
No. In fact, they should be like wiring these bad boys in nowadays. Like, it should be not an option for you to have a battery in this. This is a life-saving requirement for homes. Yes. But like my milk frother, what are we gonna do about that? Like,
will it run at a higher rate of speed if you run it on a half-dead battery?
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out. Like, we're gonna do this because I have rechargeable batteries. I'm sure I'll find a half-dead battery around here somewhere.
Well,
that I
let us
thought I was
know.
going to recycle at one point. I'm sure there's a bag somewhere, a place. So like, it just makes me want to see where else I can use this logic to see if it works out.
Well, report back if you try that, because I'll be curious to know if this applies in other facets outside of the music and guitar pedal.
Half-dead batteries now?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, where do people get them
now? Yeah,
like are you just using them?
Is there a black market for batteries? Like
you just leaving things plugged in and then waiting and then stashing those away so that you have them? Like that's I am curious about that now. So yes. Anyway, just something to think about here. And then the other thing I just wanted to cover real quick, we did would have been 2 weeks ago now, we did our first official music review segment here on Ken Macy's song Backroads off of Campfire Songs.
Great song.
It was an awesome song. We spent quite a bit of time talking about that song, and Ken sent me an email after that episode dropped and shared a few notes just based on the discussion that we had that episode, and I thought I'd share them here for any of our viewers and listeners who might be interested. So Ken released his first album in 2002. He was 19 years old. He is always released, published, and written all of his music to date. So I know we had talked about, where's he recording this and what's his process?
Has he been signed? Yeah.
Right. So he has not been signed to a label.
Shame on the record labels.
Yes. Well, and we've talked about this too. Though it's an indie musician's era right now, and I'm sure we might get into that as soon as I'm done here, because I feel like we keep steering in that direction every time the two of us do a show together. But it's not being signed to a label. I don't think necessarily. It's not like it was 20 years ago. If you weren't signed to a label, you weren't going anywhere. The internet has really changed that, and so Ken has written and recorded and done all of his albums solo. He records or writes all the songs himself, music and lyrics, and for Campfire Songs, he co-produced the songs with Roger LaValle at Wachusett Recording Studio in Princeton, Mass. From November 2020 to February of this year. And he said that they worked really well together, crafting the sound of the recordings. They added different guitar voicings and other instruments as needed. At times during the process, we would email one another after the sessions to see what we could add or take out, which was a fun and rewarding process. On Backroads, he wanted the vocals to sound like he was singing from a mountaintop, but also have the drums, bass, and acoustic drive the song. Roger came up with the idea to make the other guitar voicing he did sound like a B3 organ going from ear to ear, which Ted, I think, had mentioned something about the swirling, as he calls it, the swirling stereo sound. So, spot on for that with Ted,
feather in the cap
noticing there. That. Right, exactly. He said on Campfire Songs, it was Ken Macy, all guitars, vocal, and bass, Michael Harmon on drums, Roger LaValle on keyboards, percussion, tambourine and egg shaker, pedal steel, and co-producer. They wanted to make the drums sound big, but add a bunch of layers and textures to add fill to the sound. They finished the song pretty quickly. He said if only they could all be like that, right?
No kidding.
There is bass in the song. It's just underneath enough to fit in, but not overtaking the sound. And Campfire Songs was mastered at Peerless Mastering in Boston, Mass. And then, as we mentioned, he doesn't have a record deal. He self-releases, publishes, and writes all of his music to date. He moved from Massachusetts to Florida, so we were talking about that. But he's going to be traveling to Nashville for a week in July of 2022 to do some release promotion and some radio interviews, songwriting rounds, and performances. And he also hopes to tour other places in 2022 as well. So hopefully maybe we'll see him here in Massachusetts, or maybe if you don't live in Massachusetts and you're elsewhere in the country, or particularly in the southeast part of the country, maybe you will have a chance to go see Ken. If you're in the Nashville area, definitely go check him out while he's there in July. He's going to be promoting this album, so it'd be a great opportunity to go potentially see him perform some of these tracks live. So again, I just want to thank Ken for submitting his song for us to review, and for taking the time to follow up and give us some more information after we did that episode. Very cool stuff here, and it's always interesting to hear about the recording process and what actually goes into making these albums and writing these songs. So we appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing more from Ken in the future. So with that, I think we covered the main things. We'll call this kind of like the I don't know, the review and recap segment of Distorted Opinions. So yeah, I know I had unless you had anything in particular you wanted to talk about, I know I had sent you a few more videos.
You did. You sent me a lot of things. You sent me a lot. You sent me a lot. First of all, I love the fact that you sent me so much content that I could listen to, because it's just been a trying week. So
that full moon.
People were out of sorts. Like, people were different. People were real different this past week. So it was good. It was good to like take a moment and be like, all right, outside of, either the soundtracks that I listen to while I'm working and like clacking away on the laptop or something like that, it was nice to like take a pause and just kind of like experience this. And I have to say, I think I sent, it was that like lovely rendition of Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. And I was like, first of all, the clip of the cat itself, I think we shared the same thought process, which was, where's this going? Like, but I got a little upset because you sent me two like really great things before that. So by the time I got to this one and I like pressed it, I was like, what did this girl send me? And I was a little confused. I was like, this is okay. And then once it got going and I saw what was happening, and I was how they were creating the layers in their interpretation of the layers of the song, which is a classic song, right? It was so good. And then as they're building these layers, I'm like, you gonna put like some bars on this? You gonna put some rap bars in the middle of Everybody Wants to Be a Cat? But then have it, those bars are interesting because they were basically, poking fun at the fact that they were rapping to Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. And then to have it in Spanish was equally amazing. Right. So I went on like a weird journey watching this, but I'm so happy that when I got to the end that I smiled and I wanted to listen to it again. But I wish I recorded my face like the moment I opened it, to where I saw this cat and I was like, wait a minute, like, what is this?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, so I sent Keisha, it was a number of different videos on TikTok last night in preparation for today, so that it wasn't me either talking about it and then she's had no clue, or before we start the show, it's an hour of me sitting there pulling all these up and sharing my screen and showing them to her. So this video popped up. The user is Mimo_Mio, MIMO_MIO. And it's a cat. They got this video of a cat making a really bizarre meow. And it starts with this guy who's in Uzbekistan. And I don't know what that instrument is that he's holding, but I assume that's some sort of native instrument to Uzbekistan.
Which is beautiful, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. And it exactly what Keisha described. You're like, where is this going? And then you go on a very bizarre journey of more and more people get added in. And there's, I think, trumpet, and then there's a clarinet at some point. There's a guitar, a violin, a guy singing, a guy rapping. Like, At first you're like, I'm on this side of TikTok, huh? And then it starts to progress and you're like, oh, this is actually like, this is a carefully crafted, well put together piece of music centering around something very bizarre, which is this cat making a funny sounding meow. So,
it looks like this looks like they did this maybe like because of what I love about this is like it looked like everybody was, within their homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how awesome it is. I've been a part of something similar to singing like songs, right? But you're singing your part of the song, and it's how we've had to hold concerts this past year. Is like everyone singing their their notes, their parts, and it's getting like pieced together, produced, and like here you go, here it is for the world. So the fact that all of them look like they were doing that within the comfort of their own home, like having a fun time, it was fun to not have that be like getting the joy out of seeing that happen is something I didn't expect to experience going into it.
Right. Exactly. It's not like, so if you're not familiar with TikTok, and I don't post anything to TikTok other than the distorted opinions occasional clip from a show, which I'm not using it in the way that a lot of these content creators that are on TikTok are using TikTok, where they're doing transitions and filters and things. And there's a feature called, I believe it's called Duet, which allows you to do a video with another user. So some people do reactions to other people's videos. When it comes to music, other people do literally, they're doing a duet with somebody. So somebody lays down the initial track and then somebody else adds a duet. But this was a little bit different, where I feel like they actually had people who created the parts and then sent them to somebody, and somebody compiled all of that into one video, which is a little bit different. But it's just shy of 3 minutes long, this video, with all these different people playing their track over the sound of this cat making a meow. And it sounds ridiculous because it is ridiculous, but go watch it.
They sing it. They sing that this is ridiculous.
Yes. Yes. So definitely go check this video out, because I don't know if I can include it in the show for purposes of using other people's content without permission, but
so worth it.
Mimo _Mio. Go watch this video because it's ridiculous.
Then the train of thought, right? The train of thought to be like cat, haha, cat. Everybody wants to be a cat. Like where did this like? Who connected those dots?
Right.
Whose brain did that?
Right. I mean, I'll tell you who I can think of offhand in our immediate group of friends that would probably initiate something like that.
Hi, Matt.
Yes.
I have a fear that, like, I hope he never listens to this, but I have a fear that one day Matt's going to have like this idea where like we need to do something like that. But he'd be like 100% committed to making it happen.
He might not have had that idea until just now, if he's listening, where you put that out there and now you've planted the seed.
He does not listen to this at all.
Oh, God.
I mean, he still owes us other things. So like maybe this can be like the next milestone after that. But
perhaps.
Like that would be my stipulation. My only stipulation is like we got to hit a milestone first. No.
We're halfway to our goal of getting 100 subscribers on YouTube. We are at 50 subscribers on YouTube right now. So
scary.
When we get to 100, if you've not been following the show, Matt has promised to go into an undisclosed Home Depot and play the Home Depot theme on his guitar. And if we get 150 subscribers, Matt will go into said Home Depot and play the theme on his guitar wearing his wife's skin tight shorts, a skin tight tank top, and Ugg boots. So we're halfway to goal number 1. Goal number 2 is Matt embarrassing himself big time in a Home Depot. And then I guess goal number 3 could maybe be 200 subscribers. Maybe we could talk about
doing
these in
stacks of 50. Okay.
I feel like maybe we need to start getting more subscribers on TikTok if we're going to do some sort of TikTok
if we're going to do a TikTok thing, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that.
So let's not go down that road just yet because we haven't met the first two goals that we've set. So I say we get to at least one of those, and then maybe we can talk about a third goal if Matt is so inclined to do something like that. But I feel like he might not have thought of it until the seed was planted just now, if he's listening. So
Yes.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, very, very bizarre stuff. You have everything from that to some of the other stuff that I've found since we did our last episode. I've been getting a lot of videos suggested to me of people playing the organ, which the organ is such a strange and interesting instrument that I've never really given much thought about until I've been watching these videos. And then I'm like, there's playing the piano and then there's playing the organ, and playing the organ I feel like is playing piano on a lot of steroids. There's a whole lot going on there.
Yeah. That's interesting. I grew up listening to organs because they are a prominent they're a prominent instrument in the church.
Sure.
Like,
yeah. I think most of these people are playing them in a church. I think that's what they do. And then they just happen to play other stuff and they post their videos to TikTok.
Love that. Yeah. The musician we have in our church, he can play anything. And he's an amazing vocalist. He's just weird, incredibly talented musician. But every now and then, if I sneak in there when they're having practice and they're done with practice for the day, he'll stick around and just play other things. Oh my goodness, what you can do on an organ is amazing. So I can imagine these videos are like life-changing for you to be like, what?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on there that I didn't even realize. There's a lot of sounds that can come out of an organ that I didn't realize could come out of an organ. There's a lot of the video that I sent you was a guy, his username is West Piper, WESTPIPER. And I just realized that the video I sent you doesn't appear to work anymore. At least it won't open for me. So I don't know if that actually opened for you when I sent it.
Let me see. It did the first
He
time.
was playing, what was it? Carol the Bells?
Yeah.
Which some people might be familiar with. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra version of it is very popular, especially this time of year.
Everybody knows that version.
He plays it on the organ, and there are a lot of sounds coming out of that organ that I didn't like. It sounds kind of like bells, which I didn't realize an organ could make sounds like that. But also I don't know what's going on, but there's a box to his right that's got these things that pull and push. And I don't know what those do, but he's playing away. And then occasionally he reaches over and he grabs one of those. And I'm like, what does that do? And then there's stuff going on with his feet, because there's also, I assume, pedals that maybe play notes down there that are maybe playing the lower bass notes. I'm not really sure. So I'm really intrigued by the videos where there are people playing organs, because it's just such a crazy instrument. And then at one point, one of the videos, I don't think it was this guy, West Piper. It was another person on Instagram or TikTok, and I can't remember his username right now, but he talked about getting the organ tuned. And I'm thinking, how do you tune an organ? What is involved with that, and how much does it cost to tune an organ? Because I know to tune a piano, it's not cheap. And an organ has a whole lot more going on than a piano. So I'm just like, yeah, exactly. Literally, it's got pipes.
It's got pipes.
So I'm like, this is really interesting. So, that's also, there's a lot of like, oddly enough, the stuff that I'm getting fed on the For You page, you might expect it to be a lot of people playing guitar, because that's apparently what Instagram thinks that I want to be fed. I'm getting a lot of guitar videos on Instagram, but over on TikTok,
weird.
I'm getting all kinds of crazy stuff over on TikTok, and it's just like, it's gotten to a point where that's kind of my nightly routine. Is I open it up and see, like, I watch a couple videos just to see what videos it's going to show me and what people are doing. And I sent you, I think, a couple of vocalists as well
You did. Yes, you did. One who is an she has an opera singer, or at least
Isabella Kensington,
or at least she's classically trained, because she had outstanding control over her voice. And I think she was in a restroom because she knew that how that restroom was set up, like how it would carry her voice. So she was able to have that effect in that room because of her control and her trained ear.
Right.
She's wonderful.
I think that might have been her username is Isabella Kensington 13.
Okay.
And she was doing was the Harry Potter.
Yes, it was Harry Potter.
Yeah. There's another. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's another vocalist that I found on here, and I'd have to find her, but she was kind of doing something similar, not in a bathroom, but in a stairwell somewhere, like in a parking garage or something. She would do most of her videos there, and she was doing a lot of Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On, because apparently there were a lot of requests for that. So she had sung that in a few different places.
I mean, it's the vocal of all vocals. All right. Like Celine Dion's queen. She's just a queen. She's a queen. Like I had the privilege of seeing her in Vegas. Right. Like what a show. What a
really?
show. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's like one of my first of all, when you go to Vegas, only go for like 2 to 3 days unless you're trying to like not be yourself afterwards. But yeah. She has it's just a great show. It was a good series of shows that I got to see because, you know, if you make friends with the concierge and, you know, they try to get you into some like crazy deals, but then they're like, hey, don't like acknowledge unless you really want to acknowledge, like getting this timeshare in the middle of nowhere. You ain't got to say it. You ain't got to say yes. So I didn't say yes. He's like, but if you go, like I can get you tickets to this. So I did that every single day that I was there. So
oh, wow.
It was like Celine Dion, and then I went to see The Lion King, and then I went to go see Cirque du Soleil, but I paid for Cirque du Soleil.
Nice.
But I felt like I really only paid for one show, but I went to 3. So
wow, that's not bad.
Not bad at all.
That's awesome. Yeah, no. And speaking of Celine Dion, so not necessarily TikTok related, but so I've got a friend from college who is a pianist. I don't know if he's considered on Broadway or off Broadway. He does. So right now he's got a musical. It's the Broadway Princess Party musical, and it's all Broadway singers who I believe have played various Disney princesses in Broadway musicals. So you've got Belle and Jasmine and who else? Cinderella. And
Snow White. Yeah.
Might have been Snow White. Yeah. So he arranged all the music. He plays the piano, and they call him the fairy god fairy. And it's amazing. I'm super excited and proud of him. He is doing phenomenal things in New York, and right now the Broadway Princess Party is doing a big tour throughout the US, and I think they were over in Europe, and they did some shows over there. But Ben is a huge fan of Celine Dion, and so if you go check out his YouTube channel, and I'm gonna look it up first because I don't want to tell you to go to the wrong place, and I happen to have YouTube open here, at least I thought I did, but he's got a variety of collections on his channel of different performances that they've done at Feinstein's 54 Below, and one of the playlists is a Celine Dion, like they did a whole Celine Dion night. And
that's awesome.
One of my favorites from that playlist is they've got Jeremy Jordan singing My Heart Will Go On. No, not My Heart Will Go On. Sorry. No, hang on. I'm not. Where is it? Where is that playlist? Boy, he's got a whole. Okay, Broadway Loves Celine Dion was the was the special that they did, and it's all coming back to me.
Yes.
And if you have not listened to this performance of Jeremy Jordan singing this, it is phenomenal.
Okay.
Absolutely incredible. So go check it out. If you search for Benjamin Rauhala, or Rauhala, you will find his channel. And like I say, he's got everything broken down into playlists. So he's also got a playlist for the Broadway Princess Party, which is the group that he's touring with right now. And then if you scroll down, he's got Broadway Loves Gwen Stefani, Broadway Loves Kelly Clarkson, Broadway Loves Demi Lovato.
Broadway does love Kelly Clarkson.
Selena Gomez, I think he's got, Britney Spears. He's got a Broadway Loves Britney.
Man.
Broadway Loves Sam Smith.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, whole bunch of stuff here. But yeah, sorry, you said Celine Dion, and it made me think of that. Yes. Yeah, because he posted the video to his Instagram a while back of this rendition and of Jeremy Jordan singing "It's All Coming Back to Me," and it's really incredible. So go give it a listen. But anyway, so yeah, there's I was looking up who the vocalist was that was doing the Celine Dion covers, and I haven't been able to find her yet because that was a couple of weeks ago now. I try to save some of these videos so I can come back to them and be like, oh yeah, this is something we should talk about. And then I end up with so many of them that it's hard for me to find the ones that I'm looking for when I actually want to talk about them. Oh, and then the other one I sent you was Marcin Music, and Marcin is an acoustic guitarist who is insane.
Wild.
Absolutely insane. I mean, if you think you can't rock out on an acoustic guitar, go watch one of Marcin's videos.
You're not trying hard enough.
Yes, because this guy's killing it.
He was in his own. I was sweating watching him. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God. I mean, you would think that he goes through acoustic guitars quite quickly with the way he's like beating on that thing, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's got the same one. I don't know.
He is jamming out. He was like in that zone. He found his spark, a little Soul reference if you saw that movie, but like, he was there. I was like, I bet you he's like that like every day.
He's like that in every video that I've seen of him playing guitar. I can tell you that much. Because I discovered him on Instagram first, and then I found out he had a TikTok, and I hurried over here and followed him on TikTok. But he's like that in every video I've ever seen him playing guitar. If you haven't checked him out, I don't have his Instagram open right now, so I don't know if it's the same username, but on TikTok, he's Marcin, MARCIN.music. And just check his stuff out because, like I said, he's killing it on the acoustic guitar. Every single video is just... I don't know whether to feel inspired or feel like I should pack it in and not ever pick up a guitar again. After watching this guy
It was very inspiring. I think the message from his videos are definitely like, go for it. Just to quote Celine Dion, go for it. So like, just go for it. Just do it.
Yes. Incredible. You can tell he's having a good time playing. And then the other one, I don't know if I actually sent you one of her videos, was Elise, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm gonna say True, but I don't know if that's it. It's TROUW. And again, I think I found her on the For You page, and I started watching a bunch of her other stuff, and she's got some she's a vocalist, but actually she's a multi-instrumentalist, I guess you could say, because she plays drums, she plays keyboard, she sings. I don't know if she plays guitar. It wouldn't surprise me. I think probably she does, and she probably plays bass. So I don't know if her songs that she has on Spotify, if she's playing everything in those songs. But I went through and I listened to a bunch of her stuff after stumbling across one of her videos on the For You page. And I've been listening to a ton of her stuff on Spotify lately. So yeah, I've been getting hit with more vocalists, which is interesting because, again, I would have thought, being a guitarist, that there would have been a trend toward, like, you watch a guitar video and next thing you know, they're showing you nothing but guitar videos, yet that hasn't really been the case. I've been getting a lot of vocal videos. I've been getting a lot of drum videos as well.
That's awesome.
What else? And then just like some strange stuff like the cat video there and
which was such a great find.
Yes. The organ videos. There's a guy that plays a whole bunch of different brass instruments, and I ended up watching a bunch of his videos too. And it's always amazing because a lot of these artists that I find on TikTok also have music, full songs over on Spotify, and that's how I found Cam Steen, who we talked about the last episode with the handpan.
Yes.
And I've been listening to a bunch of his stuff. So it goes back to, I mean, we've talked about it before, and we kind of touched on it a little while ago when we were talking about Ken not being signed to a label. Being signed to a label doesn't mean, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really mean much anymore. It gets you maybe mainstream radio play.
Yeah, it gets you, if you want that level of like notoriety, celebrity, backing, support, producing support. But then it's like you may get less. Who knows? Like not all artists are created equal in record labels. So
Yep. There's just, I feel like there's maybe a little bit more creative freedom for those who are not signed to a label, quite honestly. And also Sanjay from the group Foy. We talked about Sanjay a few weeks ago, and Sanjay gave us a shout out over on his Instagram and thanked us for talking about him. And, you know, just to be clear, you know, while we do have artists that reach out to us for our music review segment, we do talk a lot about artists like unsolicited. We discuss their music, and
they are not coming to us be like, hey, talk about me. We're just like, oh my gosh, this is you're probably, Kayla is usually like, hey, I found this. You should listen to it. It sounds awesome.
Right. I want everybody else to listen to these people is usually why I talk about it, because it's like I enjoy them and I feel like other people should be listening to them too. And so that's why I'm about to let everybody know that if you haven't checked out Sanjay's music yet, if you haven't checked out Foy, F-O-I, or if you have and you've really been enjoying their stuff, there's going to be a new track coming out or a new album coming out. Actually, by the time this drops, I think it'll already be out. So go give it a listen. Sanjay's been dropping preview clips on his Instagram, and it sounds awesome. So I'm really excited about it because I've been listening to a lot of his stuff as well. So, you know, it's all about just checking out what's out there. And I don't know. I feel like I poo-pooed TikTok for a long time because I've also seen a lot of really stupid stuff over on TikTok, but
yeah, I think the music stuff though, it speaks to like TikTok's origins, which was because it was a different app that was just focused on these like music style videos. So I think that's where the heart truly lies.
Right. And there's a lot of really amazing stuff on there when you start heading toward that side of TikTok. And I feel like that's kind of,
keep that going, and that will just continue to be your feed. Like just
right. I think the algorithm's starting to figure me out. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I always enjoy getting to see what it's going to provide me with when I open up the app, and what am I going to find for music. And it's just, there's been a lot of really, really interesting stuff. So, but anyway, just a few more people that I've discovered in the last like week or two since the last time we did a show. So I thought I'd mention them real quick, but I feel like we're coming up on an hour. I didn't actually pay attention to what time it was when we started.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think we're getting close. So we might want to go into our song of the week, which
Oh, man.
I'm flip-flopping because we didn't. I feel like I know what my pick's gonna be because we didn't really go the other direction. Although I could have tied that in to some other like conversation that we've had already, but I'll maybe save that other pick for another episode. But if you're ready for song of the
God.
week, we can go to song of the week next.
Yeah. Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, as a reminder, if you're new to the show, we have a Spotify Song of the Week playlist. We put all of our picks into that playlist each week, so you can check out all of our past picks as well as the picks for this episode. We'll put the link in the description, or if you're watching the video version of the show, we have a Spotify scan code. All you have to do is open up Spotify on your phone or mobile device, click the camera in the search bar, and hold your device up to the screen. It'll scan that code and it will take you right to the playlist. We also have a new playlist for our music review segment. I don't know if I'm going to put the scan code for that on the screen every episode, probably just when we have that segment, but we'll put the link in the description of every episode. So if you want to check that out, you can. We don't have many songs in that playlist yet, but hopefully that will continue to grow as we have some more people submit songs and come on the show with us to talk about their music. And so with that, I'm going to, I guess, stick with the theme of the conversation that we had tonight. And my pick is actually going to be from Elise True, and hopefully I am pronouncing her name correctly because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And her song Make Believe, the loop version off of the 2019 single Make Believe. I've really been enjoying her stuff. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever listened to 07, but okay, so 07, I listened to a lot of 07 when I was in college, and her stuff has a very similar sound. Her vocals sound very similar as well. I think 07 might be based out of England, but I'm not 100% sure. I've been on a real chill kick lately too, so it kind of fits the vibe there as well.
You have.
Yeah, I feel like my last few picks have been kind of more on the line of chill and like a summer playlist kind of thing, but this song is really awesome. I really enjoy it. It's easy listening, so I can listen to it while I'm doing work and not get overly distracted, but it's also just a nice song to listen to. And again, I sent this to Keisha ahead of time in case she wanted to listen to it, because I'm like, all right, I'm picking somebody that most people probably haven't heard of, so maybe if Keisha wants to be able to listen to this before I talk about it. But then I was like, well, depending on the direction of our conversation, I also have another pick that might end up being my choice tonight instead. But I went with this because we didn't go down that other avenue. So we've talked in the past that for me, and I know for Matt and Ted, we don't really pay attention to the lyrics as much as the other instruments. And for me, like, I'll pay attention to the vocals, but I'm paying attention to them on a more of a note and melody level than I am the actual words that are being said. So I'm always curious to hear, like, if there's somebody who tends to take more of the opposite approach. I'm always curious to see what they think about this. But for me, again, it wasn't like, it's not the lyrics necessarily that I focused on here. It's just I like the melody of the song, and it's catchy, and I keep coming back to it, and I've had it kind of on repeat a few times here. So because
you're thinking of like you said, you think of it as a melody, as if it is an instrument, not necessarily like these words are meant to invoke or they convey this type of message. It's literally an instrument for how you're interpreting it.
Right. Exactly.
Which is beautiful. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's amazing. Like, it doesn't have to, I don't know. I'm a vocal nerd because I also think that with any genre of music that has deliberate vocals, it's like deliberate poetry to emphasize the music. So I'm like, I just want to understand that message of poetry, but by no means do I not think that it's also just like someone's voice is an instrument, so I can appreciate like any avenue that people appreciate vocals. So if that's what you appreciate and that's what you're sticking to, you don't need my opinion on it. I think that's beautiful.
All right, sounds good. So then in that case, my song of the week pick, Elise True, Make Believe, the Loop version. Check it out. She's got some other really great songs too, but this one is one that I keep coming back to. So that's going to be my pick for this week. And I'll be curious to see if your pick is what you told me you thought it was going to be earlier or if it's changed.
Well, like part of me wants to change it now because you stuck with yours. And like, at least you know that like that was like an option. That was an option, right? And I don't know if you've heard of them or not. But I'll store that. I'll store that away because when you sent me the option that you thought you were going to go with, that was a possibility. I immediately thought of a song because it was in relation to that song. Like I was listening to them around the same time. They didn't come out around the same time. I was just listening to them around the same time because they were all part of the show, me and my shows. But it's it went in a completely different path. But my song of the week is going to be 30 Seconds to Mars, Do or Die.
Okay. That is different than what you told me it was going to be.
Completely different genre. I went like this direction to complete call it the inspiration of the song that you sent me, which was because I was listening to them around the same time. Or because Jared Leto's been in the news like every day because of the movie coming out. Like, and he did at one point he did a cover at Lady Gaga's movie coming out, House of Gucci, but he did a cover of Bad Romance. And it's actually amazing. It's
really?
It's so good. Yeah. Okay. So I love that there is an appreciation for each other's music, prior to them like working with each other on a film. That aside, I was always a huge 30 Seconds to Mars fan. It's actually one of the huge bands that I did listen to in college too. Never been fortunate enough to go to their shows. I think Matt has. But that song in particular, I ended up, as you sent me the song that you thought you were going to go to, I watched the music video to that. And it's so weird, first of all, seeing like what concerts were like before the pandemic. But, just the song is just like, the title's Do or Die. So it's like live in a moment, like do it now. And one of the people that they interview in this music video basically says like, I love the song because like, tomorrow isn't promised. So why not have fun today? And in context coming out of this pandemic and thinking about things, it's like, show you right. Like, yes. So like, I put that song on like full blast immediately after. And I was like, yeah, I think this is a great like ballad to put on when you feel like you just kind of like want to do a 180 shift. And Jared Leto's so talented. And 30 Seconds to Mars is such a great alternative like ensemble. I like that's him and his brother that does like drums and like the other people in the band. But that song in particular is something that kind of helped me out of my midday hunch of getting all this work done. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. So
okay,
that's my pick.
All right. Good choice.
I'll save the other one for maybe next time or the time after that. It's just going to go in this like vault I have of songs that I thought I was going to go with, but I never did.
Yeah, I feel like I got one of those vaults too, although I've been more inclined to maybe change my decision last minute in the shows that we've done together, whereas in the past I'm usually like I know what the song's going to be, but then I've got a list of, oh, well, gee, I should use this one at some point, but I always try to tie it into the theme of the show. So unless, we don't have to do that. There's not a hard and fast rule that it's got to be fitting of whatever we talked about. It's just the way that it seems to always have happened. So my secondary choice, I certainly could have gone with it, but
it's because Matt, there's a strong possibility that you and Ted could have the same song. So I understand that there may be like a preliminary conversation to be like, hey, listen, sorry, like I have to come into this with a few options. where maybe like I just have options that people may not assume that I'd be picking. Like I don't think we ever worry about overlapping our choices.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes I've known the songs that you've picked already, but a lot of times I'm like, I haven't heard that one, so I'm going to have to listen to it. And then I listen to it when I go to edit the show and I'm like, this one's going on my playlist now. This is really good. Like,
which one? Which one did you?
I'm trying to pull up our spreadsheet here and takes a while to load now because it's gotten a little bit lengthy.
Songs.
Let's see. Sella Sue, I think.
Right Where I Want You.
Yeah, that was a good song. So that one went onto a playlist almost immediately. But yes, so it's always, I don't know. Ted definitely picks some songs that while they're in the same genre that we both listen to that genre, but a lot of times his picks tend to be stuff that I haven't heard of either. Cause sometimes, especially lately, his picks have been more bands that he's discovered on YouTube. And a lot of times they are bands that aren't based in the US. So they're not probably a band that I ever would have heard of until Ted picked it as a song. And then I heard it when I went to edit the show. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the playlist for the Song of the Week Spotify playlist has gotten very eclectic because, I mean, it started out, there was a lot of, I think, rock and alternative and metal on there. And then as we've had more people on the show with us, it's gotten a little bit more eclectic because our guests maybe pick things that don't necessarily fit into that genre. And then like I find that I feel like when the two of us do shows together, I tend to pick songs that are not so much in the metal realm as much as like sometimes I think I've had a few classic rock picks, but a lot of my stuff has been the last few shows in particular, songs that I've heard either on Instagram or on TikTok, or I've been listening to music on Spotify and then it goes into the suggested songs and I've discovered a new song that way that I wouldn't have otherwise heard. And like I said, I've been on a chill kick lately, so I got a whole playlist of what I consider to be chill music. So when that runs out, it continues to play me new songs that fit the bill that I wouldn't have maybe heard of before. So I know one of my picks I discovered it that way. So, you know, I think it's the playlist, especially the last few months, is taking a different direction from where it started. And so if you put that sucker on shuffle and listen to it for however long, you're going to get crazy. You're going to get whiplash from the amount of changes in genre and the various picks that we've had. But, no, I really enjoy it. And that's one of the things that I love about the Song of the Week segment, especially when we have guests, is seeing what a guest is going to choose, because there's a good chance it's probably going to be something that I haven't heard of. Bill Murray, not the actor, but the band.
The band.
When we had Joda and Ray on here, Joda's pick was a Bill Murray song, and I've actually listened to that song quite a bit since having him on, and I'd never heard of Bill Murray, but obviously the actor I have, but the band I have not. But it was just I love listening to new music, and we said this during the music review segment. Just because any one of us on the show doesn't necessarily listen to a certain genre of music doesn't mean that we don't appreciate listening to songs in that genre and discovering new music in that genre. So this
I'll
is probably
maybe I will literally listen to anything. I think there's a vibe for anything. There is a vibe for it. Like, so
definitely.
So
definitely. Cool. So, I mean, this might be a good time to throw out the reminder that if you are an artist or a songwriter and you have a song that you would like us to talk about on the show, no matter what the genre is, reach out to us and let us know, because we're trying to do this new music review segment where we listen to a song, we discuss it, and there's a few ways you can reach out to us to do that. You can leave us a voicemail on our Anchor page at anchor.fm/distorted opinions. You can also find links to our social media platforms where you can also leave a comment over on social media and let us know. You can find us on YouTube, and I'm not going to put the link up because it's a big, long, ugly link. But as we mentioned, we got a challenge. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers so that we can change that link to a custom URL. And if we get to 100, Matt will do the Home Depot challenge. And if we get to 150, he'll embarrass himself doing the Home Depot challenge. So even if you don't watch the video version of the show, if you're on YouTube, go over to YouTube and search for Distorted Opinions and hit the subscribe button over there and tell your friends and your family to hit the subscribe button and get us to the 100 subscribers over there. The other way you can reach us is via email, distortedopinionsshow@gmail.com. We've gotten quite a few emails from in particular guitarists who are involved with Guitar League. Since we had Jim and Paul on, we've had a lot of people reach out from Guitar League, so that's really exciting. But we are pretty responsive no matter which of those platforms you choose to reach out to us on. So let us know if you've got a song that you'd like us to talk about, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you've got a topic for a future show you want us to talk about, or if you have thoughts on what we've discussed on this show or any of our other shows. We love to hear, you know, what other people's thoughts are on these topics as well. So reach out and let us know. On that note, I feel like we probably exceeded an hour at this point. So I'm going to wrap it up here and say thank you for joining us. And Keisha, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome on this show. And with that, we will see everybody next week. I'm sure we're going to be probably doing some holiday episodes soon because that's creeping up on us really fast. So join us next week for an all new episode. We'll see you then.